Welcome back to That Motor Show for part 2 of our tour around Nugget Garage. Last week we seen things, we seen the KU10 and we seen the Hoffmobile, so sit tight and enjoy the show.
So we wandered over to Stuff. Give us a rundown with Stuff. We got Stuff, we got the whole shebang.
Yeah, well, they're a bit strange, but yeah, I don't even know why this one exists, but a friend of mine who likes to build a car, then change an engine and build a car, then he changed his mind like you wouldn't believe. He had a 1J in this car, drove it for a couple of weeks or months or whatever, and I bought it off him as a roller. And I think we were waiting on parts or something, of other project was stalling, and I thought I'll chuck this together because I've got a million parts lying around. Didn't even really have a goal for it. Just wanted to make something that was a daily driver on flex fuel. It's a 1.5J, it's got max speeding rods in it, stock main caps.
Wow.
Goal, we wanted me to try a G40 1150. Very good turbo for that combo. It's definitely got enough turbo to make 1,000 horsepower. It doesn't have enough injection. No. It made 930. It's run the short track to run into the 8s and the quarter, but there's no roll cage. So I did one run, got loose to 1,000 foot and went 9.0 at 142. And it went 582, I think, at 126 in the 8th, which is an 880. That's on the 225 radial.
225.
And it's more like, not drift car, but turny car style suspension, I guess. It's got BC coilovers and...
I was just going to say, we've got some camber going on over here.
Yeah, and it's turned out pretty good. Like, I daily this for nearly a year. At the moment, I'm just dailying a truck for some reason. This was the first car I started playing around with traction control on. We took it out to Corolla and a few other places, and it uses front and rear wheel speed and derives wheel slip percentage and then controls the wheel slip with drive by wire. Actually seems to work the best on this car.
Okay.
So it pedals it for me. So I guess that was a learning exercise for that.
Yeah, well,
it was worth doing. And you can put, a mate of mine, Ben, drove it the other day at Lakeside and never driven the car before, and then you could just hold it flat, change gears, and it just looked after itself.
So it's pretty much like a new car.
And it's quite quick. It takes a lot of people by surprise. So
it would.
You can take this to roll racing still, and it will go 3 or 4 rounds, no problem.
The JZ, it's a proven engine time and time
this one
again.
still runs the A340 4-speed Toyota Auto.
Yeah,
so it's got lock-up converter. And obviously the Elite controls the gearbox. So that 9.0 pass, that was in drive. I didn't change gears, it did it for me.
Chuck it in drive, put your foot down and hang on. And how does it go drivability? This is obviously a lighter weighter car again. What's the drivability?
It's pretty brutal how it comes on the street. Yeah. And that's probably more to do with the exhaust manifold design. It's boost creeps. So the lowest power you can kind of make around 700. Wow. It's just a little bit too much to on a track that the prep track works all right.
Even 700 horsepower, it's enough to have fun.
It's actually the 119 rear housing on that too, and it's about a 10-to-1 compression engine. So that we kind of jagged a combo that works really good. It's got no trans brake. It's got a converter that came out of the guy from WA's Chaser. He'd burnt the crap out of it and sold it to me for $50. Just said, see if it'll work. And it's good, mate. 4,000 revs, it'll make 10 pounds of boost and leave off the foot brake. So I just jagged a good combo. I was pretty happy with it.
And what sort of intake manifold is that running? Like
that's a stock 1J. So Venom make a billet adapter for a drive-by-wire throttle. So this is the first car I guess we were playing with where we tried to buy everything, not fabricate so much. And then Dave from 180 Fab did all the pipe work.
That's not bad pipe work.
And catch cans, that's all his deal. Works out of my shop, well, he's next door. We sort of work hand in hand with each other as well.
What sort of intercooler is in it?
Oh, it's only a cheapie. I think it's an
old Aeroflot.
It does struggle. It gets to 70 degrees on the finish line. But it's only 85. You can work around that with fuel and run a bit richer or whatever. Mazda M626, I think it is, radiator. I didn't think that would keep up, but it does.
Yeah, well, the old BA Falcon ones, they're getting a little bit pricey and...
Yeah, probably wouldn't fit in there anyway.
They're a bit more chunkier. That's a very, very tight...
This car too, we put a 75 litre fuel tank in the back, like right at the back, trying to get the weight there. And
so you do a little bit of the chassis setup with them? As to you're picking the weights and you're...
Oh, within reason. To be honest, I've been drag racing for a long time and I probably should have proper stuff in my rear ends. But I just think it's funny to not have it. Like that car, the red K10, it's done a 1, 2, 3 and a 60, which is only really maybe a tenth off where it would be if I spent another 15 grand on the rear end. You know? I don't know, I'm stubborn like that. I like to try and make stuff work.
10 grand for a tenth of a second?
Yeah, tenth in the 8th, tenth in the 60 is probably 2 tenths of the finish, but if I can make that work with nothing, like,
it's a win.
I like that more. You need to be a checkbook racer sometimes. You can make crap work.
If it works, it works. That's wicked stuff. Hey, so this is the I don't know, sister brother car to things, I suppose.
Well, you had to build stuff and things. Unfortunately, now I can't sell either of them because they've got to be...
Hand in hand.
And it looks funny when you turn up to a track with stuff and things. You seem to like it too.
I like it. I'm a big kid. And camshafts. So I thought I'll ask a little bit more in depth with the engine.
These are actually a billet camshaft, and these, a friend of mine, Arthur, had this head on a Sora. The compound turbo setup never kind of worked that well, but I think they're a 280 odd average duration cam with about 9.5 mil lift. They're big, not stupid big. Still within the realms of using a brake booster. There's enough vacuum for, it's not a camshaft where you've got to have a vacuum tank. But still revs, I think the rev limiter on this thing is 9600. It still makes power to 9300.
It would sound pretty good.
And then everyone laughs at the max speeding rods, but I reckon most of those rods are made in the same foundry and just finished off. I didn't use their rod bolts, I used the RP rod bolts, but they're still in there. And they used to be in my Supra as well, so there's not like, I've been beating on them for like 10 years nearly. And back then I think they were $498 for 6 rods.
That's not bad, hey? That's, in the grand scheme of things.
Almost paying that per rod now on the big stuff.
And to get, 930 horse?
Not only just once, it's done it. It's a stock main cap engine as well, so this shows you can tune around inadequacy of an engine if you do it right. That's why we built that Kevin Commodore and Nugget Garage. Over the years, people have put superchargers, turbochargers onto the crappy Ecotec and blown air gas, done all this crap. We did it with a stock L36, turbocharged it, and I mean 10 second passes in a row. And then we intentionally broke it. But once again, you work around what the engine can and can't do.
No, exactly. Like you said, you've worked out what this engine can and can't do.
Oh, 2Js are just a freak. They'll do it anyway. I know everyone talks about 1,000 horsepower stock 2J, but you can actually do it. You could even do it with a standard head gasket and head bolts. So you could legit, if it was a manual car, you could do it.
Oh, it sounds like you got another project car there, mate.
I've done it before. Yeah. 2Js are doing a deal now, they're like 10 grand. But that's why everyone's doing Barras now.
This is so cool. A little grandpa car again.
Yep.
Oh, I'm only saying that because I'm young, but...
That's kind of a common theme with me. I like the sleeper. Even my Supra runs stock wheels, and I'd rather let the car do the talking performance-wise than your Larry and...
Blingy. Well, you pop the hood and we got the bling under the bonnet, and then it does the talking.
It does.
Oh, that's so cool. And for an older car to have some traction control going on.
Does it well. It's got cruise control as well.
Oh, really?
The only thing this one doesn't have is AC. For some reason, I put AC in the panel van.
What's next? I'm absolutely spoiled, Scott. This is you can't even say a dream. You can't even dream this sort of stuff. This is just cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So now...
That's pretty ratty, isn't it?
This is one of the coolest. It's a KE.
It's a K10B.
KE10.
Yep.
So I'm still learning as we're going all these different makes and models of cars, but this has to be one of the coolest looking KE10s, like the patina of the guard.
I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to rust out all the front panels. Just
Even
that way.
That's perfect.
That's a bit too far gone. So we'll fix that and then we'll rust it out. But
you wouldn't want to jag your hand on that or something.
This car is the one I get asked about the most.
Yeah.
We got a few runs on it, and then I think it's nearly 2 years now.
Right, so this is a pretty special sort of moment.
Since we've done it, this car come from, I think it was Byron Bay. This is the thing, everyone know me for Corollas, so I always get people saying, oh, you've got a Corolla, do you want one? So I had to buy a Morris Minor to get it. And it came up, and it wasn't too bad a body, and then I always wanted to do a bike engine car.
Right, so this is a Hayabusa.
It's a Hayabusa engine, yeah.
Hayabusa engine.
The PSR copy of a 3076 Gen 2. Stock motor. I think the main reason why I want to do this is started to get a few cars coming in with sequential gearboxes, and I don't know, it's pretty daunting trying to set up flat shift on a $30,000 gearbox on a 1,000 horsepower engine.
True.
I thought I don't know a whole lot about, cutting blips on downshifts, and so the idea was this thing's got an Elite 1500 on it. The manifold's not on here yet. He's going to do that shortly. But the idea is you're going to have a strain gauge or load cell in the linkage and a drive-by throttle. So once you've left the line, I should be able to do flat shift on the way up gears and throttle blip on the way down to match the revs. So you shouldn't have to use the clutch. I figure I'll learn how to make all that work properly on something that's mine, that it only hurts me if I break it.
That's wild. It's actually a relatively big engine for a motorbike engine.
The whole engine and box is lighter than the old engine was. So this thing should end up being 700 kilos plus whatever I put in it. 800, 900 kilos. It'll only make 350 to 400 horsepower, but it'll rev to nearly 12,000 revs, and make all the cool noises.
12,000 RPM.
Yeah.
That's
Funny bit about it is because of the backwards forwards gearbox thing, the top speed's the same either way. So you could do some stupid high speed reversing stuff. So you can imagine what's going to happen. And I'm trying to keep it daddy, and the interior I'm going to try and make it more aluminium floor pans, the billet levers, just weird stuff that I don't normally do. I think on Nugget Garage, the last time this was on there, there's been a heap done since then, so we're actually making a video at the moment. Just haven't been bothered the last 6 months. So I think in the last month we've been forcing ourselves to do an hour every afternoon.
I'm sure
just making it happen.
That's the hardest part, man. Pressing that go button, but once that go button's gone, you're going. Even
they all cost money too. Like
between all these cars,
you can't keep doing it. It's just people get the shits. I even had comments on my videos saying, "Oh, sick of watching you play with your toys. We should build something again." It's cost too much. I don't know what you're supposed to do about that, but even this piece of crap, it adds up. It's a bike engine, then you got to buy a computer, and you got to buy dashes and turbos.
Turbo, then custom fabrication for.
And then you remember how much Speedflow costs when you do 3 orders. That's a good product. So
you pay for what you get, but you create a car that you're going to use for content. It's a very expensive outlay. And if something breaks, you got to again spend more money on it further.
It's always just a balancing act between workload and money and time.
Time
I did enjoy it. Like I can't go into a car event anymore without talking to at least 15, 20 people. Which is, I'm not a talkative person, but I don't mind it.
It's cool, hey. Even now when I go to roll racing, I'll get people walking up to me going, "Oh, watch it! I've seen you." It's just like, here I am.
I'm an extrovert though. I'm far from that. I'm an introvert, so.
Doing good. Never talk. Oh man,
I enjoyed this one because of the challenges.
This is
everything about it has to be thought out and done somehow different to how you normally would it.
It's just a big
cradles and linkages, and you got to think about what's going to affect everything else.
Your steering and your weight over the front end of the car now is just going to be completely because all the weight's over there.
It's not too bad. I think
with
the cylinder head and the turbo kind of balance the other out. But once the plenum's in here, it'll look full on there anyway.
It's pretty much a bigger version of that go-kart.
It is. More power.
Hayabusa.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it, eh?
And what's the plan? Drag racing or no prep?
This?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to do something different that I feel a bit bad for saying it, but I wouldn't mind doing some, not drifting, but maybe some drifting. Yeah. It'll be fun car to do that in. It doesn't have all this fancy steering lock shit, but I don't know, gymkhanas, that sort of stuff.
If it can turn a tyre, drifting's drifting.
I think this thing's just going to be a little menace of a thing. Like, it's going to be revvy, noisy, tyre smoky, sideways. Like, it'll do something which is different to what I normally do. So
burn it.
I think it would do some pretty high-speed donuts, actually.
Imagine the tip-ins on this thing. Full speed. You could even do a reverse tip-in.
Yeah, probably.
What do you call it? Reverse tip? I don't know. I do that in my micro Guinea. I got to say it's mega. But no, this is wicked to see it.
Well, I reckon we'll have it going in the next 3 months.
3 months. Yeah. That's a solid grind.
It's only really down to. I started ordering the front drive shaft today. Plenum, Dave wants to make that, and he'll make it way nicer than me. So I've got to wait for that. And there's just seat mounts and
so much room for activities.
There's complexities trying to make that too, because none of it can move. So we're going to make it in a way where you can weld everything and it stays in line. And ultimately, you only got rubber couplings to the head. So he's got some design that he's going to make work.
Could be onto something.
CNC router, so he'll cut all the plates out of that. Whereas I'd be making everything by hand. And
that's that. Anyway, this is so cool.
Rusted out the front end, and I was going to get one. My missus is a pretty good painter, so I was going to try and get some kind of, I don't know, World War II plane themes on the side of it. But I think we'll just rust it out now. Leave it.
Rough, yeah. Tina look is
That's
it's.
Well, I sanded that guard down 2 years ago and left it in my shed. And then when I pulled it back out, it was like that, and I liked it. So we'll do the rest of it now. Just the front end.
It is very cool. I think that's the first thing that caught my eye when I walked in was just
roll the chrome trim and badge over it. Yeah, I like it. We'll put something on there to slow it down.
What's another KE10? Hey, it's cool to see him back on the roads.
Yeah, you got to save them. I'm buying another one on Saturday or Sunday. It's just a parts car, but it's savable. It's not.
Just a little too far gone. You're gonna say there's your dedicated burnout
but
car.
You buy, find a grill. Like you basically got to buy a whole car to get the parts that you can't get.
But it's been a long time since they made these cars, so
68, 67. Yeah, there's some years on them. Yeah.
Oh.
We ended up buying the Corolla back. You've seen that one in Nugget Garage as well.
yeah. And revising on my Nugget Garage videos and watching the drag challenge with it, and
That's got to be the most reliable rotary that I've ever had. That thing, it just keeps going.
it sounds cool too.
Yeah.
That's,
I'll show you.
I was just thinking though, like this dude's on it.
What happened to doing backflips and shit? You're getting fat, mate.
I'm getting old.
So now we have ventured on to, is it another? Sorry, is it another KE10?
No, this is a K20.
20. Sorry.
No, this one goes back a long time. So this is right at the start of Power Cruise, right?
Yeah,
I had my bamboo version of this, which had the OK20 plates on it. And I did probably the first 5 Power Cruises with the 13B turbo combo. It was always been pretty reliable. Had a microcheck on it and blah, blah, but the same turbo. I did shit back then, like 1 year of throttle bodies and AR intercoolers. Like this is all 20 year ago shit. Then when I went to go to JZ, I sold all this to a guy that I knew and put it into this car for him. And then it sat in the shed for like 10 years and he rang me up, said, do you want it back? And he didn't want much for it. And I went around there and it was exactly how it left. And I went, okay, done. I bought it back, then we put an Autronic on it and put it on the 85 fuel, and now it runs like 920s and 106. And it's reliable. I've done street machine drag challenges and road trips in it, and it's very dated. I bought it back now off Andrew, who had it for the last 2 years. But it just needs updating, which is what we're going to do. Once again, red and blue fittings, push lock hose, all the old school shit that he used to do.
This is like old school Garrett, hey?
That's actually the predecessor to the GT42. That's the TA45.
Ah.
Yeah, the original Garrett one from back in the day.
Even the Garrett logo is different. Wow. And no V-bands around here. It's got the old bolt.
Nah, man, that's old stuff. But it's still,
it's kind of cool,
it makes 600 at the hubs, and that's enough to run 920s, enough to do wheelies.
It's watching the Nugget Garage, and when you guys are driving to the track for the Street Machine 2019, it sounds wicked.
It's got one of those quick time valves in it, so it's a 3.5 inch exhaust to the diff, and then through a little one at the back, so you can make it really quiet. It doesn't particularly like driving like that, but
no.
I didn't need this car back, but I like cars that have history, and I'll probably just put a Haltech on it now, I reckon, or put drive-by-wire throttle on it and just modernise it.
Modernise it. You wouldn't keep it. You wouldn't just for.
I could leave it as it is, I guess, and just tie it up. But
it's cool. Well, like
just after you're playing with those ECUs now, it's so nice to have all the functionality and the data, and
realise it's just so much better.
Yeah. And 2J, the 13B stuff, this engine had brand new alloys, but you can't get them anymore. It's a standard 2mm Mazda Apex Steel engine, so it doesn't have anything fancy in there, so it's a challenge to make the power without hurting it. But yeah, at the same time, I really need to put an ECU on there that can save the engine if something goes amiss.
So the old Microtech on it.
Yeah, it had an LT10 on it, but I ditched that. That was back in the day, and then put an Autronic SM4 on it, which no one ever. That was my ECU of choice for a long time. Very, very far ahead for their time.
I actually have never heard of.
Just Richard Orwitt, the guy who is Autronic. He's a bit of a eccentric nutcase. Like he's a magician. But the only unfortunate problem with the Autronics is he never developed them since 15 years ago. Yeah. So you don't really have any CAN integration, and it runs out of I/O. Just everything we do now, you're limited with what it can do I/O wise. Ultimately.
Oh, these guys are taking all that.
But you still put one on a dyno now in a car and tune it, and it tunes up better than anything still. Like whatever he's got going on in the background there in his fuel modelling, it's top shelf.
Right, if something
15
works.
years ago, man. Yeah.
So we got the old school ignition.
Yeah, this is old M&W stuff. These are actually the Mercury ferrite coils, I think they call them, the CDI coil.
Mercury.
But even your smart coils now come from. I'm pretty sure they come from Mercury. They're off an outboard.
Oh, like the Mercury boat.
Two-stroke.
That's awesome.
So back in the day, that's what. I mean, they put their own cases on them, but that's what they were. They were a ferrite coil. This thing used to have the old Indy Blues in it, as well. 1000cc primaries and then Indy secondaries. It's got 2200s all around now. It is really a bit of a mess.
It was really, so this is like top notch.
It was quick back then. Like everything's gone stupid now, but it was probably a 990 car back at the start of Power Cruise, and there wasn't a whole lot out there that would touch it.
No. It would have peeled the tyres all right, hey?
Oh, I had that was before radial too. That was before E85.
I was going to say, what sort of fuel was it running?
E16 or 98 back then. So E5 has done wonders for rotaries. You can get away with so much more on that, on a rotary at least.
The whole world just needs more E85.
It does.
Smells good, goes good, does good things.
If you were that United servo at Willamette, why would you not keep Do you see that shut down?
United there.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Dumb. Anyway, you got to go through Springfield, which adds 30 minutes to the trip.
Then you're going to be worried about all the E85 shortages hanging around. And
I'll better let you go, I suppose.
oh man, this is just seeing this, like watching the videos of all these cars and seeing them in person, it puts a different perspective on everything. The ingenuity behind them, the stories.
Oh, this one broke an axle too at road trip once, didn't it? Yeah, it did.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up finding someone to fix an axle at no notice, and then had to find a lathe to fix because we forgot to machine it for the actual centre bore of the wheel. We still made the event. Still, it's just good fun times.
It's amazing what happens when you're in the moment. You have to make something happen. You make it happen. And
You go back through Nugget Garage and watch the red K10. We did a Kenda meet once and snapped both axles. And a mate of mine got out of bed and they sent me a video of them all drunk in the backyard pulling axles out of a diff. Went to their machine shop, machined me up 2 axles, and I had them back the next day and back in the car and racing. So two custom axles made at 1:30 a.m. in the morning.
the things that people do
Yeah,
for motorsport. It's a thrill and it's adrenaline and it's
Definitely.
just something that makes us all excited. It's a feeling that you can only feel once you're doing it, hey?
Yeah, that's what I like about the drag racing industry. Like, there's a lot of people who like to stir up and crap on, but ultimately when you're at the track, if you've got a part and they need it, it's no problem.
It's a good going community, hey?
Definitely.
Oh, man, this has been a treat. I got no words for it. This has been so cool. And now I know the difference between a KU10 and KU20 Corolla, and I won't mix up my words ever again. No.
I used to be KU20 all the way, but lately I've been liking the KU10 shape a little bit better.
They are.
I'm a bit ashamed of that. But
They're a cute little car.
the only reason you used to use a KU20 back in the day is because you could fit a 26x8 slick under the factory tub. And we were all playing around with untubbed cars when it actually was proper untubbed. And these had one of the biggest wheel arch and wheel tub factory in the compact car anyway.
I suppose that's why the Sport Compact.
As usual, rules got blown out of the water and now you've got small tyre cars that are a full drag car, but anyway.
There's always another story for another day. But Scott, this has been an experience. There's a lot to take in this one video, but it's definitely worthwhile. I'm sure we could probably go on talking more and more about all of it.
There's a few more.
There's
Yeah.
a whole
I'll probably
nother-
ramble enough as it is.
No, this has been cool.
But I'm still very passionate about this stuff. You know, I've been in a little bit of a downward spiral with motivation lately, but they're all here still and it'll come back.
Hopefully we can all, within this, we can boost you back up.
I'm pretty stoked. I work hard for it all. And the upkeep on them, it's quite high. And you get customers come in and they're crying because something broke on their car. Just try and do that 5 times in a row with 5 different cars and it hurts. But it happens. You know.
That's the reality of it.
It is.
But for some reason, we keep coming back to it.
Oh man, I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. And hopefully my boys can, well, I've got a few cars for my boys to play with when they come of age.
They're in for a treat.
Thanks for visiting.
Thank you so much.
Hope you cut some of the rambling out.
Oh, rambling or not, people just got to suck it up because this is a cool story, a cool place to be. And beyond humbled's an understatement, man. This is...
Thanks, mate. Well, if you ever want to drive one, just let me know.
All right, I'll make note of that. Well, guys, how cool is that? Make sure you give it a like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever you got to do. But that motor show, Nugget Garage,
I don't have one of these things.
Cleveland Don. I'll just do it because ADHD is anything. All right, guys, done deal.
Once again, thanks to Scotty from the Nugget Garage. It was an absolute pleasure to have a look around. Guys, if you liked the video, hit the like, hit the subs, hit the comments. Until next time, Aldo, That Motor Show, signing out.